Last week I said that I had found a submission by someone, and it said, being from the Navajo Nation, I have seen a lot of crazy shit.
Tell me.
So disclaimer, I am not Navajo. I don't know the culture extensively. So if I get anything wrong, sorry. But I'm just out here trying to tell some stories, you know what I'm saying?
Skirt.
Okay. So this person said, having grown up on the Navajo Nation, or in the Navajo Nation, they have a ton of different stories. So they've collected some from their friends, from uncles, aunts, things like that. So, first one is actually something that happened to this person who submitted. And when she was younger, her sister had a baby, and her sister's husband was called away to work for a couple weeks, so he'd be gone. So her sister asked her if she would stay with her and help her with the baby and kind of like help her with some of the chores because it's a newborn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she agrees. She's a teenager at this time. She goes to her sister's house, which is a trailer way out in the middle of nowhere. There's no neighbors for 5 miles. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
And for the first week, nothing happens. Business as usual. But in the middle of the second week, every night as they're going to bed, they start hearing tapping on the side of the trailer. And so for the first 2 nights, they're kind of weirded out by it, but it's just light tapping. They think possibly an animal. I don't know. But the third night, the tapping turns to scratching. And then aggressive scratching. And by this point, they're pretty freaked out. And it starts scratching on one side of the trailer, and then they can hear like a scuffle and scurry, and then it's scratching harder on the other side, and it keeps switching back and forth. And so finally, kind of fed up, she says she just musters all the courage she can, and she's going to go outside and confront whatever this is. So she throws the trailer door open and jumps out. And as she does that, she sees a shadow whip around the side of the trailer.
Like, what kind of shadow?
Like someone moving really fast.
Oh.
So she starts...
So not really a shadow, like more of a figure.
More of a figure.
It's dark. She can't see it, but she knows it's...
Yeah, it's nighttime. It's way dark. And she sees a figure like run around the left side of the trailer. So she takes off sprinting after it. And she yells like, "You better get out of here." And as she comes around the corner, the shadow that was just there is now way across the whole yard. And it's moving through the clotheslines.
What?
And she said it moved from where it was to the clothesline impossibly fast. And so that's like her first. She like stops and looks at it. It runs through the clothes and she sees it like sprint through the clothes and like push like a sheet away or something. And there's a utility pole that's way past the clothesline. It runs to the utility pole and scurries up super fast.
Hell no.
And in one of its hands, it's holding something. So it's doing this one-handed and gets to the top. So she can see this figure at the top of the pole. And she said the whole yard is filled with a laugh. The figure starts to laugh. So it's just like almost cackling at her. And by this time, she's freaked out. And then as it's laughing, it jumps down off the pole and sprints at the trailer.
So comes back.
Well, yeah. But near the other side of the trailer. Like it's going for the front door now. Because she's now like behind the trailer. Oh. So it sprints out and it's running towards the front door. So she runs as fast as she can. Turns the corner expecting to see someone either looking in the window or trying to get in the front door. And as she comes around the corner, nothing's there.
Fuck that, dude.
So she looks under the trailer, looks around the back, looks around the front. Nothing. Goes inside, tells her sister everything that's happened. Next morning, she goes outside and she said she can see footprints all around the trailer and footprints leading up to the utility pole. And they're barefoot human footprints, with one exception.
Hmm?
They have really long, like, claws coming out the tips where the toe should be. And when it dropped down and it jumped down from the utility pole, she saw it drop the thing it was holding in her hand. So she went to the utility pole, and her niece's little shirt is lying like crumpled in a little ball. So it was holding the baby's shirt as it was laughing. That day, her and her sister left the res and went to their mom's house, who had moved away from the res a couple years ago, and they like didn't come back until the husband was ready to come back.
Right.
That's the right move. I love
I second that.
Yeah.
the part that made like my heart sink was like synonymous with hers when, you know, this thing's tapping and there's multiple ways to react to that depending on who you are. For her, it bothered her to the point where she wanted to take care of it. So she stepped out and she's ready to handle this. The thing runs around the side of the trailer and then she follows it and her heart drops as she sees this thing like impossibly far. Like there's no way any human could have gotten like crossed this distance in that amount of time. And from there she saw it climb up the pole and she was like, I want to get away from this now. But like how her emotions changed, and that had to have been what, 15, 20 seconds?
Like a split second. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's like why he started laughing. He's like, now you see my
Ooh,
power.
That's a good, that's a good point there.
Also, side note, in my extensive research of footprints, something that I noticed is that, like, regardless of how like the tips of your toes are, or in case of like a four-legged animal, the way that you step and then like bring your feet up, it kind of makes it look like it comes to a point, just the way that your feet come up. So maybe the way that it was is just like actual regular footprints, but they kind of had this pointed look to them just because of the way they were running.
She said it looked like each toe had a claw
Yeah, no,
that like dug in deeper.
that's sketch.
Yeah. That's just her one experience. She said that's her personal scariest experience.
How irritating though to have that tapping.
Bruh. I'd run out there too. I'm trying to sleep. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, yeah.
But I think it's in line with what Leah told us. It's like a lot of their goal is to just
Scare.
Yep.
Dude, I heard tapping on my window a few nights ago.
And then you took out your earplugs and it was me snoring.
3 floors down. No, I woke up and heard the tapping and realized my window was open and that the cords to the blinds were like going psh, psh, psh. But for a brief second I was like, I'm on the 3rd floor. What the fuck is going on right now?
That is kind of scary. What if you just saw like a man standing outside just tapping? He'd be, ugh.
Dude, I don't know. I probably would have punched right through that screen. Just clocked it.